Gonna get started soon, folks.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. You see me in the spirit, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. You just don't. Still selling false hope cause you just don't care. House, building. If we talking to a uniform, who the real? You know we in the deep south, so let's keep it real. This is when they used to mob, let's drag and kill. I never made the party cause I felt the paper bags. Gotta get this money cause you know I never had it. I feel it like Badu, the way I carry my baggage. This heavy load on my shoulders might turn me to a savage. Is that why we gotta fight to get respect? That's a shame, who's to blame? I don't know, but all I know is that we still rocking them chains. Still taking that wheel, still trying to get paid. Still trying to find God, still trying to act safe. Yeah. Put a youngin' on the corner, now he winning. By 27, he'll be dead or in prison shampoo. Yeah. These are all the terrible conditions that we bind and we put inside the minds of our children. Can't you see we in despair? Look around, we got crime everywhere. But you still sell false hope, cause you just don't care. And you just don't care. And you just don't.
What's going on, folks? What's going on? I'm going to give people a little more time to get into the room so we can get started. In the meantime, in between time, we're enjoying some jams. I'm about to switch it up because I want the vibes to be super high, per usual. But yes, I'm excited to have you guys. I'm going to give it a little more time for folks to jump into the room. So grab your water because we are doing our water check-ins with Miss Tara. So make sure you have your water. And we're going to get started soon, folks. We're going to get started real soon.
I wonder, is it worth living now? They told me dreams come true once you live it out. I picked the pieces from my childhood in a broken house and heal my soul from the trauma we've been given now. I hear the whispers in the wind under smoky clouds and tell myself once again, I'ma work it out. So much shit.
Changing up the vibes. Of course, I gotta light my incense. few more minutes, folks. A few more minutes. Actually, 3 to be exact. If we're being extra. Hope you're feeling good, feeling great. Getting some behind the scene teams together, making sure I got it all together, you know what I'm saying? While we wait for folks to jump in the room, we got 2 more minutes. Enjoy the vibes, get the water going, get your incense, get your candles, because it's time for the midday chat. You know what I'm saying? Can't see what I'm doing. You're gonna see soon though. A lot going on behind the scenes. One more minute, folks. Hey. Hey. I don't even know what this is. I like it though. Hey. Folks, okay, you see that smooth transition? You see that? Ooh, I am feeling better. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. As I am doing this midday chat and getting comfortable with it, I still get nervous. So like before everything pops off, right before we start, we go live, I have this little palpitation in my heart. It'd be like, but I'm starting to get more comfortable with the process, and making little adjustments, like adding this, my AirPod and getting my iPad going so that I can make sure the sound is good, because we've had problems with that. So we get better with time, but we get better with time. We get better with time, and we get better with time. Okay. All right. So I am super excited to welcome you to the Midday Chats with me, Chantel Sarita. This is a time for us to wind down, a time for us to take a moment in the middle of the day. We're kind of evening now. So, it's still midday. It's not over yet. This is a time for us to check in with self and have that check-in to see what's going on and learn a little bit about ourselves and have a conversation with each other and grow, and we take an hour to do this, and it's a great time. So thank you so much for tuning in today, forever and always. I appreciate you. And before we jump into the conversation, I need you to know who I am so that we can be acquainted. You don't want this random person talking to you if it's your first time, right? So my name is Chantel Sarita, and I am your eclectic self-love coach. What's going on? I teach women how to fully love and adore themselves, radically by practicing self-love techniques and strategies, and really getting into that journey. I'm here to support you in that journey. I am a former mental skills trainer, which means I used to work with gymnasts, dancers, coaches, helping them to build the mindset they need to be successful athletes. And I loved it. I was a successful athlete myself, and I used those skills in my career. Once I learned the research behind it, I was like, let me get more of this. Let me get more. I'm doing good. I want to teach other people that. And that's what brought me into that. I also am a dancer. I love dance. I love expressing myself through dance. If you love expressing yourself through dance in any way, even if it's just in your bathroom and you're just shaking it a little bit, you're at home, you have some wine, give me an emoji, shoot me an emoji, and then make sure you click the link in if you're on Facebook so that I can see your name. Okay, so I'm just really excited to have this space to talk with you so that we can learn about each other, and learn how I'm here to support you within the Yes Moms community. Okay. So with that being said, I do have an announcement. I have our self-love celebration for the month coming up this Sunday, not this Sunday, September 19th, in 2 weeks, I'm sorry. September 19th, our self-love celebration is going to be coming up. And if you don't know what that is, if you've never heard of it, I have a little snippet to show you what that's all about so that you can join us in loving on yourself and celebrating yourself and having a supportive community around to do that with you.
I just wanted to ask, because I wasn't going to say anything, but since it's been commented on the meditation aspect of it, so I've meditated before. I've gotten, relaxed and whatnot. This was the first time that I felt not like a human, but like just a breathing vessel. And I could see my rain and earth and Mother Nature. And I did not think I didn't think at all about who was leading it. So it just kind of resonated when everyone else shared that, who was leading the meditation made them feel different. And I can also attest that I felt different this time too. I just didn't recognize that that was something that was different that I was participating in. So that was my journey with that as well.
All right. So I have self-love celebration every month and setting a space for you to love on yourself. So if you're interested in that, shoot me a message or in the comments and I will send you the link. But yes, without further ado, folks, I want to jump into our midday chat for today. So first and foremost, I'm adding a new segment. It's called Trailblazing Women of the Week. All right. Well, Woman of the Week, because we're going to be doing one per week. So I want to take this time to just highlight someone who is doing their thing. They may be up and coming. They may be kind of in the shadows and they need a little highlight. They need a little support, because that's what we do here in the Yes Moms group. And then She Got Love. That's what we do. So I want to support and highlight this young lady. Her name is Hawa. She is a hip hop artist who started out with classical music, and she was doing all of those things with the instruments and being more specific and just that classical route. And then she decided, you know what, I want to switch it up. I want to do classical urban vibe. So she began rapping and put those two things together. And I just love when you can just create your own lane. Like, that's a trailblazing woman, to be able to create your own lane. But I want to play a song from her just real briefly, just to give you a little taste of what she's all about, because she's super dope and her music is very unique. So I want to play just a little segment of that, just so we can all be on the same page with it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's really dope. She's really dope. So let's check her out. Again, her name is Hawa, and this song is called Wake Up. She ain't trying me up on the day.
attitude. She ain't a new bitch. I always you. She about it too. Pretty nigga gotta do what I do. We're all moving on in the boom.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you a little vibe of her. Her music, her sound is definitely unique, and it's appreciated. I love when women are able to find their lane and really like go in there and do it. So Hawa, Hawa, check her out on Spotify. And I found this article on Blavity that talks about how she got into the industry. So that is our trailblazing woman of the week. Now, what are we talking about today? What's the tea? Today, we're talking about trusting the process. So we're going to talk about trust. We're going to talk about faith, and we're going to talk about perspective within yourself. How do you learn to trust your process? And how do you learn to maneuver through that, even when there's adversity and it feels like, ooh, I don't want to do this. Like, this sounds and feels weird. I have a question for you first, because I do want to kind of dive into this, but I like breaking the ice before we start having the conversation, right? So the icebreaker today is, what animal would you choose to define your personality? What animal would you choose to describe your personality? Hey, Tara girl. I say I would be, it's a couple of different animals that I feel like would describe my personality. Number one, I feel like would be either a rabbit or or a bird, or a lion, like lioness type. Maybe not specifically a lion, maybe a big cat. Like, I don't know. I have to sit with that a little bit, but I would love to hear from you. Yes, Tara, you're a Phoenix baby. Yes, you're always rising, always making it come up from the flames. You know what I'm saying? And arising new. And I knew that about you, boo. I love that. You're a Phoenix. Yes. So we broke the ice, right? So now I want to know another question from you, okay? I want to know do you know the difference between your intuition and fear that you may have? Sheba would be a lion or an elephant. And I want you to think about this. You don't necessarily have to respond, but do you know the difference between your intuition, like if it happens right now, like you have something come up and then you have this feeling about it? Do you know how to decipher that between your fears and your actual intuition telling you what's best for you? And I will start by saying this is something that I struggled with. And I feel like I'm slowly stepping into it a little bit more and being able to hear my intuition, because sometimes she kind of quiet. Sometimes she sit back. She'd be like, hold on, you got to see the whole thing. See the whole thing. She sit back. She'd be like, you shouldn't do that, girl. And I'm like, my fear be like, yeah, do it, because we're insecure. Do it. But my intuition is like, girl, you don't need to do all of that. So it can be hard to decipher between, an insecurity or something that's coming from a fear-based place. If you don't sit and listen. I mean, at least that's how it was for me when I first started listening to my intuition. And I started to notice her. And then it got to the point where I would notice her. I would notice my intuition, but then I would ignore her. And I would hear her talking to me in the background, like, you should definitely do that. And my fear is like, no. And so I'm like, I hear I probably should do it, but I'm not going to do it. Because I listened to what's louder. I listened to what was louder. So that was one of the things that, I put in the Facebook group this week, asking or mentioning that my intent for this week was to be obedient. I believe that was a post that you did, Sheba. I responded saying my goal, my intention for the week is to be obedient to my intuition, like listening, following through. Because that's so important. And I never realized how important it was until I started to notice a pattern. And that's when things start to change, when you start noticing a pattern. But before we get into that, I want to watch a video that talks about intuition, and it talks to you about just kind of getting into a place where you learn to trust your intuition, if you don't already. But I definitely want to watch this and have a conversation about it. So her name is Lisa Nichols, and she is a life coach. I've been listening to her for years. She's talks about amazing topics and things that really help you to move forward in your life and get unstuck and all of those things. So let's listen to what she has to say, and then let's have a conversation.
You know, when you want to learn how to trust your intuition more, you know, I say, and this is me and my walk and my belief system, that your intuition is your internal GPS system, your internal God placement system. It's that whisper, and sometimes it's that scream that tells you to leap or to be still. Your intuition is a combination of spirit, emotion, and logic, and it's guiding you. And so often we don't hear our intuition. Why don't we hear it? Because we're having too much chatter in our head. Like the chatter in our head, doubt, worry, judgment. Oh my God, judgment or fear of other people's perception of you. So your intuition is saying, I love to dance, I want to sing. Your intuition is saying, we can have a great time. Your intuition is saying, I want love. Your intuition is saying, gosh, let's go take that chance on that writing that book, or let's take that chance on starting that business. And then your chatter comes in. No, what if I fail? So let me explain this to you. Your mind, your brain is designed to keep you safe. It's designed, and it only has the ability to go back in time in the mental file cabinet and look at the last time you tried something like this, and it may not have been good, or it may have ended in some dangerous situations where people could judge you, and your brain is designed to protect you. That's it. Your brain is designed to protect you. It's logical. Your intuition is that spark of passion. It's that spark of desire. It's that spark of love. It's that spark of pull me forward. It's that little bit of radical. It's that lot of bit of I want to leave my fingerprint on this planet. Your brain isn't designed to have those same ideas now. Now, your intuition can kick the brain in, and the brain can start thinking of ways too, but the intuition is where it's going to start. It's in your gut. It's why when you feel something, you kind of go here. You don't go, oh, I feel so special. You don't say I feel special here. You say I feel it here. I feel.
Oh, I want you to hold on to that. I'm going to pause it right there before we finish it. She said, you feel it here. That's a great way to tell the difference, because fear is probably going to show up differently as opposed to intuition. You're going to be like, I trust that this is the right, like, I trust this is the right way. This feels better than it does when I'm afraid and I'm nervous and I'm tight and I'm tense. So there's definitely a difference.
Feel it here. And so your job is not to turn down the doubt. Your job is to turn up the passion. It's to turn up the faith. It's to turn up the possibility. Now, still make well thought out plans. I always say the best plan is the plan made. I don't care if you have to upgrade it, you have to modify it, but if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So every dream, every passion, every desire, follow it with a plan, because that's where your brain gets excited. Your brain goes, yeah, we got a plan now. Now you can believe yourself. See, you set big goals and dreams and you have desires, and then you don't achieve it, but you don't achieve it because you didn't set the plan in place. You didn't do the details, and then you stop believing you could do it. And then you do the biggest tragedy. You stop dreaming. You stop hoping. You stop stretching yourself. You stop listening to your GPS, your God placement system that says you've been put here.
Ooh, hold on, pause. She said you stop listening to your GPS, your God placement center. Ooh, that was juicy. That was juicy. Your God placement center. Wow. That's powerful. Sheba said she would be a lion or an elephant. This is from our icebreaker earlier. A lion or an elephant. Yes. Wow. God placement center. So see, again, that's that reminder that this is coming from a place of, you know, it feels different than fear does. There's a difference. So yes, she has a great conversation and has wonderful videos. I love Lisa Nichols, but that was just giving you an idea again of what I'm saying here when I talk about intuition and trusting the process and moving through it in that way. So story time. Okay, so I mentioned this in the Yes Moms Facebook group earlier today, but yesterday I had, for the very first time, I had been summoned before, but this was my very first time of having to actually go into the courtroom and do jury duty. Tara says, I love that God gave us intuition. Absolutely. As a way of guidance, so we can be guided through God, you know? And whatever your beliefs are, it still aligns if you think about that higher power and yourself, that connection that guides you through there, guides you through life in that way. So yes, story time. So yes, like I mentioned, I was summoned, and it wasn't really a big deal at first. I was like, okay, jury duty, like everybody complains about it, but whatever. Now, the story changes when I get a message asking me to come to Chicago, or if I do gymnastics floor routines anymore. I had gotten a request to come and do some gymnastics floor routines. I do choreograph those as well. So when I got the request, I was like, oh, well, I'm like in Atlanta now. Like, they're not going to want to book somebody that lives in Chicago or that lives in Atlanta and they're in Chicago. So, she's probably not going to respond. I had worked with them before. So I get a call the next day basically saying, no, yeah, we're going to fly you out. And you're going to do these routines if you're available. Are you still available? And I'm like, yes. Not thinking, jury duty. Never been before. Didn't even know you could have to be there for longer than one day. I'm thinking in my head like, oh, just one day, I'll be fine. No, girl. My boyfriend told me, oh, you could be there for up to a week. I was like, after I've already confirmed these floor routines, and this to me, let me explain to you why this is meaningful, because think about something that you truly love doing. You enjoy it. You're really good at it. And this is your first time where somebody tells you you're worthy enough for me to fly you here so you can do it, or you're stepping into something that is going down the direction that you're excited about. Like you're getting closer to your goals, and this one event is happening that is going to bring you even closer. So that's how I was feeling. And then the anxiety hit, because I'm like, oh my God, jury duty is on Tuesday. I will be flying out on Thursday. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I'm scared. And it made me feel like more anxious than excited, because I'm like, well, if I get jury duty, then am I gonna have to stay? Am I gonna have to like miss out on this opportunity that I feel like I'm so excited about and I've worked so hard for? Like, really? But keeping in mind what my intent was for this week, my intention, and from last week, was be obedient and to have trust and faith, and to move like I have trust and faith. So I get to the courthouse, the usual thing happens. I didn't know what the usual thing was, because this is new to me, but the usual thing happens, I guess. And according to COVID protocols, they sit us down after asking us a bunch of different questions to see who would qualify to be on the trial. The attorneys are asking us all these questions. And then they sit us into the separate room while they deliberate on who they're going to choose. Now, mind you, this is all over like a 4-hour span. I'm skipping some stuff. They sit us down in this separate courtroom with nobody else, and we sit in the order of which our pool is. So like I was number 2, and there were 17 of us. So we were listed in order and sitting in order. I was number 2, so I was sitting in the middle of 2 other people. There was 1, and then there was 3. Number 1 and number 3, I'm number 2. So when the bailiff comes back in, mind you, I'm nervous all day. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna like freak out about this. Everything is fine. Every time I got nervous, I tell myself everything is okay. Like it's gonna work out in high school. It's good. Like God got me. Like everything's gonna work out the way it needs to, and not necessarily like holding on to this idea of it has to work out this way and it's gonna work out this way. It was more of an open, like a bird, like I mentioned earlier, free, open movement in the direction that I knew I wanted to go, no matter what that looked like. Because sometimes you'll get a gift and it'll be wrapped in sandpaper. you won't know it's a gift. So this whole experience was a gift. So let me get back to it. So I'm sitting down, I'm number 2. The bailiff comes in and they're like, okay, these are the people who are going to stay for the trial. And mind you, the trial is 2-3 days long. 2-3 days long. They're like, we're going to stay for the trial. Or these people are going to stay for the trial. And then name the first person. The first person is the one that was sitting next to me. Mind you, they're only picking 12 people out of 33. Okay, just keep that in your head. But they call the person next to me. And I'm like, they're probably going to go in order. So then I just sat there. I was like, I trust you, God. Everything's going to work out the way it needs to. Put my head down, relax. I'm like, everything is good. And then she said the person next to me. And then the person behind me. And then the person next to them. But she skipped me. Oh, do you know my heart was like, I can still go to Chicago. I was trying to contain my happiness though, because everybody around me who had to go to court was like annoyed. But I definitely was excited and having a clap, snap, and a shake inside of myself because I was really excited. And that just goes to show, at least for me, that was definitely confirmation that trusting my instincts, trusting that everything is going the way that it needs to go and the way that it should go, and for my highest and greatest good, even if that looks crazy. I was prepared to hear my names at the same time. I was prepared to hear them say Chantel and realize that it was still going to be okay. Sorry, you feel me, girl? I was ready. I was. But I was prepared for either way. Obviously my heart wanted this certain direction. I wanted to not have to come back. Who wants to go back to jury duty? But I was like, but if it does happen and I do get called, there's a reason. So I'm just going to be open and I'm going to trust that everything is working out the way that it should. And that really that was such a great experience, even though it was scary the whole time. But I was talking to myself through it and keeping the perspective on the fact that everything's going to work out for my highest and greatest good. And it really just staying in that and owning that, because I made that commitment to myself. I want to know, how often do you listen to your intuition? Do you listen to her? And these are questions you can also reflect on and just kind of sit with and ask yourself, do I? How often is she talking to me? Is she like my intuition, where she's real chill? She sit back and she's like, you shouldn't be doing that, girl. You need to do that, right? So why are you not going for it then? You need to stay home today. You need to rest. Okay, it's time to go hard. That's how my intuition talks to me. And I have to realize she'd be real low key in the back, but I have to listen, right? So do you listen to your intuition? And this is definitely a good journaling question as well. Definitely a good journaling question. So some things that Lisa Nichols pointed out, which I want to discuss as well, is she said that intuition is spirit plus emotion plus logic. Your intuition is your spirit, your emotions, and logic brought together cohesively in a way where they balance each other out. So spirit is that, ooh, okay, we got a juicy answer here. I've been listening much more with age. Sometimes my heart overrules, especially when it comes to relationships. Then I'm mad because I should have listened. Man, it's the worst when you don't listen for something that's big in your life, or you continuously miss the mark. And so all these little things add up to one big thing. And then it just kind of explodes in your face. Man, I've been there many times where I'm like, damn, I knew better. I knew better than to call that dude again. I knew when he left, I should have just let him. I knew better than to just keep trying to make it work. I knew better, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. Oh, I feel you. Yes. And the heart is oh, it's so hard to not listen to everything that the heart wants. When the heart is like this, I want this. You just want to be like, yes. But that's the idea of blending that spirit and that logic in with the heart. And it's so hard. Like I'm saying it like I do it every moment of the day. I don't. It's hard. Having that balance between these three is difficult because a lot of times you just want to follow your heart because it feels best, right? But when we are able to find those three, I guess that is the mark right there. That is the mark. And that's the mark that we want to meet. And then your spirit knows too. Like if you have been through something in the past and you haven't healed from it, your spirit's still holding on to that. So even when you're not thinking about it every day, your spirit still feels it's still carrying it. Imagine like putting a magazine in your book bag every day for like the length of your last relationship. And then you're carrying it around and then y'all break up, but you're like, you forget that bag is there because you only added a little bit at a time every day, and you just kind of forget that bag is there. And so you broke up with this person, but you're continuing on with your life with this big ass book bag on your back. That's heavy. So when you get into your next relationship, you put another book bag on. Now it's layered on top of the other thing. So like being able to take that out, like declutter, so that you can hear what your spirit is saying because it's bogged down right now. And being able to unpack those things is going to help you have a better connection with your spirit. And then with your emotions, your heart knows what your heart knows. It knows. But at the same time, there's balance. Girl, bag lady, you gon' miss your bus. You can't hurry up because you got too much stuff. I'm a bag lady. I really actually like bags a lot, though. So that's what I mean when I say bag lady. But everybody has baggage that they need to let go of. I'm sure there's some stuff that I don't even realize I'm still holding on to that I need to let go of. So yes, bag lady Erykah Badu. That is a timeless song. She read all of us in like 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Girl. But yes, like your heart knows what your heart knows. And so where that's leaning. And at the same time, it's like, it's hard because sometimes you get stuck in this idea of like the potential of something, and then you're like gung-ho on that so hard that it comes off like kind of like, for me, I'll say for myself, you're so gung-ho about something because you see the potential in it and your emotions get attached to that idea. And then you just kind of lose your grounding there. You're not rooted anymore because you're kind of floating onto this potential that you think is going to happen. That's not happening, and this can be in a relationship. This can be with a dream job. This can be with like you're buying a house. This can be anything really. And if you have built up potential, like this potential that you built up in your mind and your emotions become attached to that, dangerous. Not a good place to be. And I'm speaking from experience when I say that. I'm talking to my younger self. Not a good place to be. I've been in situations where I've gotten really attached to potential because I am a dreamer. I know how to dream. I know how to visualize these things that I want. And I know how to see the best in situations. And sometimes that's to my detriment because I'll see the best in this person and they don't see the best in themselves. And I might have this idea that they're going to reach this certain place and they never do because that's not their mindset for themselves. That was my mindset for them that I decided to create and then become attached to. When I say it out loud, it sounds kind of crazy, right? But that's what happens when we attach our emotions to potential. It can be dangerous. But that's the going back to my story with the jury duty and my work, my gig, finding that balance between like, I know this is going to be a great experience for me, but at the same time, I know that it could not work out. And that's why like kind of sitting somewhere in between that was like my sweet spot because I was like, okay, I'm just here and I trust. Like, I'm not going to lean too much this way and like get so caught up in it that I get desperate about it and I'm desperate that I'm going to get this gig, and I'm not going to lean too much this way where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so scared I'm going to wind up getting called for jury duty and they're going to call my name, because you don't know how powerful your mind is. If you're saying, I'm going to get picked, 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 they're going to pick me, I'm going to get picked, they're going to say my name, they're going to say Chantel, I'm going to have to come to jury duty, I'm going to get so annoyed, I'm going to have to miss my gig, I'm going to have to, if you keep saying those things in your head over and over and over and over again, you're going to manifest them. So that's why it's important to sit in the middle. How many times have you been like, dang, they're going, oh, this is going to happen, and then it winds up happening? Or how many times have you been like, man, I can't wait for this? Like I've been able to manifest winning raffles about 5 times where I just say, oh, I'm going to win. They're going to say my numbers. And I've done that about 5 times just from like focusing on it, and then, but also sitting in the middle and being chill about it. There's a healthy balance there. There's a healthy balance. Tara says, I'm so over potential. I bring a lot to the table and they need to as well. Yes, Tara. Say that, boo. Say that. You bring a lot to the table, period. I love that, because you know your worth. You know your worth, and you move in your worth. You move, you behave in your worth. You do things within your worth because you know what you're worth. So like, yes, being over potential, being over the idea of somebody having potential. Yes, I support clap, snap, and shake that. For real. Because once you realize, like, I have better things to do than think about your potential and how you should be when you don't even want to think about how you should be. So yes. And the same thing with like situations outside of relationships, things within your life, relationships with things that are not people, like relationships with your job and things like that. You know, having, you know, for me, I have a huge, that's something that I'm overcoming too, is seeing potential in my work, different positions that I've had that were not my self-employment, but were me working for someone else. I see my potential, or I see the potential for me to move a certain direction and like be able to make it work for me. Or I see like the potential of them being able to be a better business in certain ways. And like, I want to bring that to the table. But I came to realize, like, I got to do that for me. Because if I don't, that can go away at any moment. And we talked about this in the mental wealth check-in as well. Yes, manifestation is a very real thing. That's why affirmations are so beneficial to our spirit, says Tara. Yes, ma'am. Affirmations and mantras are the plug. The plug, because you're training your brain to be focused on things that you want and things that feel good and things that make you help you manifest more of it into your life, more of this love and these things that feel good. Just doing a quick make sure the volume sounds okay. But yes, so good. Affirmations and mantras. I used to listen to those when I first started into my self-love journey. I would listen to self-love or affirmations in general. And first thing in the morning, I would just play affirmations and like have incense going while I'm getting ready, because it's just playing in the back of my mind. And then eventually your brain starts to say those things. You don't have to think about, you don't have to try to, repeat them or like focus on them, but the more you play them, the more they start playing in your subconscious mind, which is where you want them to be. That's exactly where you want them to be, because when they're in your subconscious mind, then you have a better chance of having this mindset on autopilot, like this healthy mindset of telling yourself you love yourself, telling yourself you deserve, telling you all these beautiful affirmations. They're running in the background, and you don't have to worry about like trying to force it anymore. It's just natural. It's natural. So, of course, I had to pull up some research. I didn't do any bullet points today because, boo, this presentation took like an hour and I didn't have time for the bullet points. So I'm just going to read you some things from this article. Of course, Psychology Today. I talk too fast and I got to slow down. Talk too fast and I got to slow down. It is called Trusting the Process, How to Enjoy the Journey. And it is by Dr. Eileen Cohen. So I love a few of these points that she brings up. The first point she says here is, what's the rush? Is it just me, or does it seem like the more we have, the more we want? That's the thing. The more things we acquire and the easier things get for us, the more disconnect we become. Do you ever realize, like, or ever notice, like, you have a goal for yourself where you have this idea that you want to do, or you have a goal of like buying a house, or you have a goal of getting a new apartment, and then once you move in, you're like, oh, okay, now I got to put stuff in here, and then you get furniture, and then you're like, oh, I got to decorate it, and then you like put some pictures up, and you're like, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta add some lights. Oh, I gotta get some extra cups. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And then you're just running. You're just running rather than sitting one moment at a time and being like, okay, I got this apartment, and like just being excited about it. Once you have something for, I would say maybe like, depending on what it is, I don't want to say a time frame, but once you have something for an extended period of time, it feels more like not new anymore. And then you start to, want to add more in it to get nuance, keep that nuance. That's how folks become house poor. Yes, because you have to plan this out and then take your time in the process and not feel like you got to do everything right away. And then even in your spirit, that doesn't feel good when you're like telling yourself you got to do this, and the list is endless. Yes, there's a lot that goes with getting your home together, but you also want to take that time to enjoy the moment, because it's only that, and then it's gone. So taking the time to enjoy the moments, and not feeling rushed to get everything done, and not feeling rushed to add more, and not feeling rushed to get nuance back into the situation. Enjoying the process in the moment. And that's actually her next point. Enjoy the process. She basically talks about the same thing here. It's like enjoying what you're going through and taking your time in that. I'm trying to find the specific point that I had earlier. Here. She says, Hoff offers the idea, and this is a person, Hoff offers the idea of trying to enjoy every moment of the time we spend during the process of working towards our goals. He explains it is the process that makes us wise, happy, or whatever. If we do things in the wrong sort of way, like we're not enjoying the process, or something happens, it makes us feel miserable, angry, confused, and like things like that. So when you are focused on things that could be better, then it's going to take some of that joy away from the process, rather than just sitting in it and letting and celebrating the little moments, like we talked about, I think a couple months ago, of having a win wall. And since then, I've been creating little post-it notes and things like that to remind me when I've done something good. Like I have literally just made it through the day. That's one thing I have on here. I have budget in the positives. Yes. I have work on my credit health. I worked on my credit health today. Yes. So I like to write little things because of celebrating the little wins along the way. And that's important because we've talked about this. It's affirming you and your goals. Yeah. So before we wrap up today, I want to give us a journaling prompt per use, because we got to have the journaling prompt to go along with everything that we've discussed today, with trusting the process and having faith. Let me put it in this way so you can see the whole thing. So this week, I want you to keep inventory. Okay, so how does your intuition talk to you? Like I told you, my intuition, she'd be back here chilling. Girl, you need to. How does your intuition talk to you so you can learn how to listen to her or him? Do you listen or ignore? So this is, again, you're taking inventory. So think about this throughout your day. And then when you get home at night, journal about it, or journal about it in the morning, or bring your journal with you and journal throughout the day when you have little moments. What happens when you listen? Like, what happens when you do listen to your intuition? In my instance, yesterday was a whole example of what happens when I just listen to my intuition and I trust. And then what happens when you ignore it? Things don't go well when I ignore my intuition. When I know I'm not supposed to be doing something, or I know I am supposed to be doing something, I don't do it. Things don't work out in my favor. I had one time where my intuition told me to stay home because I only wanted to go out because I was scrolling on social media and I was having some insecurities. And so I went out anyway. And I wound up hurting my knee that night. And it was hurt for like 2 months after that. So listening to my intuition, man, so key. Tara says, I got that whole Easter Rain secure intuition. We be arguing sometimes. Yeah, you be rapping to yourself in the mirror too, Tara. Rapping to yourself, having that conversation, figuring out what intuition is talking about. I love that. So she talks to you. That's super dope. That's how she talks to you. Y'all be arguing. Y'all be fighting a little bit, huh? You be bickering. I love it. But yeah, so these are great questions to get yourself going as far as being more attentive to your intuition, listening to what it's saying, aligning yourself more, because beautiful things happen when you listen and you follow what your intuition is telling you, because that is the guidance from God, right? That God placement. What was the God placement GPS? Do you remember what it was? GPS. But yes, what Lisa Nichols was saying earlier. But so great because it's just divine guidance. It's divine guidance. So why wouldn't you want to listen to it? Why wouldn't you want to learn how to hear your intuition better? Right? So with that being said, folks, we're ending a little bit early today. I just want to say thank you so very much and give you another reminder of Self-Love Celebration, which is happening on Sunday, September 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a donation-based event so that I can continue to bring this type of energy into the online community and eventually in person. So all donations are going directly towards this event. And it's going to be super dope. Hit me up if you have any questions about that, if you're watching this after the live is over. But I can't wait to see you there. I have so many great things planned for you. And the theme is know your worth. Okay, so we're gonna be chopping it up and having a good time and building up that self-esteem because we deserve. And lastly, my love, thank you so much for showing up and showing out for yourself in this midday chat. Yes, I hope you learned something and you're able to take that back and utilize it towards your life. God placement center, God placement, it was the S, right? Oh no. I should have wrote it down. It's gonna come back to me. Watch. We're gonna get off the live and it's gonna come back. Soon as I say stop and the live ends, it's gonna come back. But anyway, yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope that you take this information and you are able to do something with it in your life. And I can't wait to meet with you next week, next Wednesday. I'll see you then, boo. All right.